A couple of weeks ago I had the opportunity to attend a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, which was gathered to discuss the historic horse racing initiative that's been placed on the ballot this year. The majority of speakers were there because they opposed state-sanctioned and, in the case of the Idaho Lottery, state-sponsored gambling of any type. There was one person who supported the measure who must have felt somewhat outnumbered, and a few interested chamber representatives. It was an instructive afternoon, which I followed up with a conversation with a Napa gentleman who is a staunch supporter of the initiative from a passionate position of wanting to encourage youth programs centered around county fairs.
While I completely understand and, to an extent, agree with the arguments around the problems of gambling as an industry, I do not want to belabor them. Gambling addiction is a public health problem, and state sanction of the means for people to acquire and continue this addiction is another debatable issue. Idaho Indian reservations have active casino industries. Those operations are also open for debate.
What I want to consider is whether the use of historic horse racing machines is really the answer to the problem they are supposed to address. The proponents of them see their placement at horse tracks as a way of generating larger purses for Idaho races and additional money to finance agricultural youth programs. They see the Idaho Lottery and Indian gambling as cutting into the revenue that was generated by betting at the tracks. They see the ending of historical horse racing machines as a reach by the Indian gambling operations to end competition.
During the meeting I attended and in subsequent conversations, I became convinced that more income from the machines would only be a band-aid for the problem. Horse racing and equestrian activities throughout the state are suffering from a marketing problem. Who but the avid fan in the Magic Valley really knows when there is racing in Boise or eastern Idaho? I was told there are 400 days of rodeo in Idaho. Outside of participants and their families, how well known are these events? Draft horses and dressage. Where? When?
My experience with equine husbandry ended when the pony I had purchased for my children face-planted my daughter onto the cactus in our backyard in Apple Valley, California, but I have loved watching rodeo and other equestrian competitions all my life. Given enough notice of the event, I would even attend a race and drop a few dollars. My point is, the industry has not made enough of an effort to make events well-known and accessible. If more people actually attend events, revenue should increase comfortably.
There is a good argument for keeping Idaho money circulating in Idaho, but I am not convinced that the machines that have been used actually do that. Idaho does not produce gaming machines. My understanding is that they are vended to the tracks and a percentage is left there. Why not pay Idaho people to run Idaho horse racing? Historic horse racing is done on a machine that also includes a feature that looks much like a slot machine. Guess which feature is used most often? Slot machines are extremely efficient money grabbers and are probably the most addictive method of gambling. I would think there might be some challenge in betting on races that have already been run, especially in a betting parlor with widescreen projection and lots of yelling. I might enjoy it. Again, Idaho people employed in an Idaho betting operation.
Idaho needs for kids to find ways to connect with all facets of the agriculture industry. We can expand the interest of Idahoans in equine-related sports. I do not believe a machine that is removed from any form of human or environmental interaction brings agriculture closer to the heart of Idaho's citizens. Notte giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando al riposo.